Thank you, Derek. Good afternoon, everybody, again. Thank you for letting me be part of this meeting today. This afternoon, I will talk to you about the advances of the Barcelona Tourism Observatory regarding the selection of and the calculation of the sustainable indicators in our case. Just a quick reminder of what I have presented this morning as a new observatory of INSTO. This morning, I've ended my presentation by introducing our new system of indicators, the SITS-OTB, which main objective is to measure sustainability of our destination by providing all stakeholders with decision-making tools. I listed all these stakeholders, but this afternoon, what I wanted to do is ask, well, how do we measure tourism sustainability in our destination? Well, I think the answer is on the list of our sustainability goals as a destination, which include, for example, to reduce the tourism footprint, to increase the commitment of our stakeholders with, for example, the promotion or helping them to get certified, to increase the tourist average length of stay and their expenditure. So, for example, by diversifying our tourist offer or promoting our culture, to improve working conditions and gender equality at work, to redistribute tourism economical and social benefits so we can improve at the same time the resident satisfaction. And also we want that this tourism is through all year round, so we reduce seasonality. And to increase the accessibility by fostering the adaptation of tourism services, not only for mobility disabled, but also for those with hearing and seeing impairment. So when selecting the indicators between that list that we identified, that was more than 200 indicators, the criteria that we took into account and that you can see on your left side of the screens, well, more or less, were the ideal. The ideal was to find indicators that were calculable for any geographical area. So that means not only Barcelona city, but also the region and then the destination as a whole. They had to make it possible to compare destinations regardless of their characteristics. They had to be capable of being individually understood, and also reliable and stable source should be available over time. So each of the indicators could at least be once a year updated. This was the ideal situation, but on the right side of the screen, you can find the problems that we found on our way. In the previous uses of the indicators, too many stakeholders were involved, so it was difficult to keep going as a whole. So what we did is write a list of the main and the secondary stakeholders, and another one with potential stakeholders that would help us providing certain data. Then we saw that some of the indicators were calculated for a certain geographical area, so we had to find other ones that were valid for all of them. Also, we realized that some ideal indicators of the mandatory issues like accessibility weren't available. So, for example, the percentage of accessible tourism companies, Marina Diotavelli said that 153 out of 165 metro stations in our city is accessible. But that indicator is not valid because, I mean, it's just at a city level. So we have to find one that is valid for all the geographical areas that we manage. And finally, some indicators mostly linked with energy, waste, or water management weren't available at a tourism-specific level. So that made us design a system that at the first look, it might not be ideal, but our plan and our challenge now is to improve it as soon as we achieve new sources of information. For instance, we're working together with the Biosphere program to get data from their certified companies so we can achieve more tourism-specific data. And well, now we have like more than 800 companies at the destination that are biosphere certified. So let's see how this works in the future. This is the final indicators list. As I was saying this morning, we came up with the 30 indicators that are linked to the 3 areas of tourism sustainability. We tried that all the areas were balanced. And as I was saying, they are linked to 21 issues, mandatory buy-ins, though there are 11, and the other ones that were interesting for our destination. You can check the whole list on our website, as well as the issues that they are linked to. They are also linked to all SDGs, and we try to take into account all of our stakeholders, not only the government's part, but also private companies, workers, residents, and tourists themselves. So as I said, I'm not going to read the whole list. Okay, what I wanted to do here today is we're showing you some provisional results, because we're going to publish the final results next month. First of all, I'd like to tell you a bit of our interpretation methodology too. So each of the indicator, so the result of the indicator itself, it's interpreted on the basis of an ideal or desired value. We also compare the result of each indicator in relation to the other geographical areas of analysis. And we started collecting this data since 2018. So what we've done is make the analysis of the evolution of each of the indicators through the time since that moment. So here's the first example that I wanted to show you today. I'm going to present one indicator of each of the areas of analysis. The first of our indicators is the average distance of tourists from their origin to the destination. It's been calculated taking into account the distance between their countries of origin and Barcelona city. We know that the distance doesn't calculate the carbon footprint itself, but we think that it is an approach to it. And the comparison between the different geographical areas and also its evolution gives us information. For example, we can see that in the region, the average distance from the origin of our tourists to the destination is lower than the distance that the Barcelona city tourists travel. And that's just basically because in Barcelona region, we have more national tourists than international. And we can also see that through the time, especially into 2020 and 2021, it has decreased, but that was, of course, because of the international tourism decrease because of COVID. The second example I wanted to explain today is an economic area indicator, specifically of employment. It is the average salary of tourism activity and the average salary of the rest of the activities ratio. Here, there's no difference between the different geographical areas, but as we can see before the pandemic, the results of this indicator weren't ideal, since a tourism worker earned just 70 cents per each euro that a worker in the rest of the activities did. And we can see that in 2020, the situation was worsened also because of the pandemic. The last indicator that I wanted to show you today as an example is the ratio between the tourists and residents. It's a sociocultural indicator that shows us the effects of the tourism in the community. It gives us an idea of how the destination may be more or less pressured and how this may affect the satisfaction of residents with tourism. It's been calculated taking into account the number of tourists, their average length of stay, and the residents, and that residents may be every day of the year at the destination. And the results are that there is more pressure in Barcelona city than in the region. And once again, COVID-19 caused an impact too in this indicator, especially in Barcelona city. To end my presentation, I'd like to explain about our next steps now, which are, first of all, as I told you, the publication of the results and our findings. That's going to be next month on the 9th of November, I think. So you're welcome to visit our website again and check all the results. Also, we're going to transfer, and we're transferring the information through different ways, like press releases, webinars, meetings like this one today, workshops with our stakeholders and so on. We are going to, so this is a work in progress. So we are aware and looking for new sources every day, every month. So if we have new sources, probably some of these indicators will change if we find that these indicators are better than the ones that we already choose. And finally, we're going to pay attention to the evolution of the tourism activity after COVID-19 and how that may affect to the sustainable tourism indicators. Once again, thank you for your attention. If you have any question after all this speech, I'm ready to answer them.